This captain's drinking habit nearly killed everyone on board. As soon as he boarded the plane, he secretly poured a small bottle of vodka into his juice. When he realized no one was watching, he added another bottle. Then he cleverly tossed the empty bottles into the trash and took a satisfied sip of his spiked orange juice. The head flight attendant caught a whiff of alcohol, but she seemed used to it by now. The only one who looked shocked was the co-pilot. This was his first time flying with this captain, and his face showed complete disbelief. What he didn't know was that the captain had already been drunk before boarding. Before long, the captain reeked of alcohol and passed out cold. From the head attendant's reaction, this clearly wasn't the captain's first time pulling this stunt. Fortunately, the flight went smoothly and they were getting closer to their destination. The co-pilot took over the controls and began preparing for landing. Then disaster struck. The cabin started shaking violently, and passengers and crew members were terrified. Only the captain, who had just woken up, remained calm. The co-pilot discovered that the plane's elevator was obviously malfunctioning. The captain calmly instructed the flight attendants to keep the passengers calm. The next moment, the plane suddenly went into a steep dive. One flight attendant who hadn't made it back to her seat was thrown out of the cabin. The co-pilot frantically pulled the brake flaps, but the plane kept falling. Every passenger in the cabin held their breath. The captain immediately contacted air traffic control and declared an emergency landing. But at their current rate of descent, their chances of survival were virtually zero. To slow the plane down, the captain quickly dumped fuel, but it was no use. The plane was headed straight for the ground. At that moment, the captain made a shocking decision. He decided to flip the plane upside down. The co-pilot was too terrified to speak. He asked the head flight attendant to pass along final words to his son, and then the captain immediately began the inversion maneuver. The cabin started tilting. Passengers and crew had no idea what was about to happen. With help from the co-pilot and head flight attendant, the captain retracted the landing gear and completed the inversion at just 800 meters above ground. Although the inverted maneuver temporarily stopped the dive, dumping the fuel had caused the engines to shut down. They couldn't make it to the airport, and the engines were on fire. Without time to think, the captain made a bold decision: find an emergency landing site. He successfully righted the plane, but both engines had completely failed. They could only glide. Suddenly, a church appeared in the clearing ahead of them. Even though the captain desperately tried to correct course, he could only watch helplessly as one side of the plane clipped the church. In that moment, everyone in the cabin was powerless, silently waiting for fate to decide their destiny. Luckily, the plane's speed had slowed by then, and thanks to the captain's cool-headed decisions, most of the passengers survived.